Today, we're going to make this dust disappear.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Oh, hey. Welcome back to Wolfridge Woodworking. Hopefully by the intro you could tell we're doing a little dust collection. So got some things sitting around here we're going to be using today. We're going to be using this dust devil. Got a Shop Vac here. We got blast gates, clamps, a T, another blast gate, and then and a floor sweep. So we're going to put this on the ground, and we'll be able to sweep up dust from the shop onto the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbox this stuff, and we're going to get started. What we have here is a cyclone. And what the cyclone does is it creates a vortex so that when the Shop Vac is working on collecting the dust, it accumulates in this cyclone here. And it swirls around, and the heavier pieces fall down to the bottom and collect down into this bucket. And what that does is 90% of your dust winds up in here and not clogging up your filter in your Shop Vac. I've used this. This is going to be my second one that I've got in. It works really, really well, and you'd be surprised at how much it collects. So, that's what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to assemble this and then bring out our Shop Vac. Our first step is to attach the cyclone to the lid. So there's a supplied gasket. So we're just going to put that there and go through this assembly process. Pretty straightforward. So off camera, I tightened all the bolts down. And so now what we need to do is the cyclone comes with this piece of foil tape. And what that is it kind of grounds it so that you don't get shocked every time you pick up the hose because it's got built up static with electricity. So what they want you to do is wrap this inside the pipe, just make it go over, come down, and then attach to one of the bolts. So I'm going to do that on the end, and then also on the pipe here, it's going to come in and make contact with the foil tape. So there. So it looks like they got enough, so we are just going to install that. And so what we did was just covered up the bolt hole. So we'll put the nut through there. And now we'll just tighten that up. So with the kit comes these wheels to be able to make it mobile, and then it comes with this piece of foam where you can attach it to and bolt it to the Shop Vac. I'm not going to do that with mine, and here's the reason why. I'm going to make a cart, and that'll be in another video where I put this kind of on top, Shop Vac on the bottom, and it'll be mobile so that if I need to, I can move it to another area of the shop and use it. So I'll have kind of a quick disconnect. So that's the plan with this. But it just, the piece here goes on top, and then it has all of the connection hoses and everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the Shop Vac out, and we're going to put it in its place. So you'll have to forgive the little bit of shaky footage. I took the camera off the tripod to show you a closer look, and it's just trying to get the tripod in here is going to be too much of a pain. So, but basically, so I've got the Shop Vac set up down there. So the exhaust is there coming out of the back of the Shop Vac, and the intake is around an elbow that comes up and into the top of the cyclone that's sitting right beside the Shop Vac. The output, which is right there, is going to be routed around and come up, and I'm going to be feeding two things. My dust collection on my lathe, and I have a 90-degree elbow there. This piece of pipe, it was just there just to test it. And then I'm going to have my sweep, my shop sweep, down on the floor here. You have to excuse my wood storage mess down there. It's probably not the best way to store my wood, but I'm still building my shop. I struggled with how to record this and to show you guys how I'm actually going to go about doing this. I'm a one-man shop. It'd be nice if I had somebody that could follow me with the camera, but that's not reality. So what I thought about doing was, let me just talk to you for a few minutes. I'll try not to ramble on too much, but explain to you, one, what my goals are, two, how I'm going to execute it, and then the third is I will actually take the camera and show you kind of what I did. So the goal for this is to add dust extraction for my lathe here, and then on the floor to the left of the lathe is to add that floor sweep, so that as things are happening in the shop and I need to sweep up, I can just go in and sweep it to that, and it'll come up into the dust collection. The other thing is the challenge is that the switch to the Shop Vac is way down in the bottom. The other thing is I could have a remote, and that's what I've got on my other dust collector. However, I went a different route this time. I bought a switch. It's an automatic switch. You plug this into the wall, and then it's got a place for your Shop Vac and then for your tool. The only tool I'm running on this is my lathe. On my other one, I've got it hooked up to my bandsaw and my sander, and I just have a remote, and that works fine. However, with this, it's just one tool. I figure, I'll go with an automated switch. I'll have a link to this and all of the other parts that I use in today's project down in the description. So I'm going to plug this up, and again, it will automatically kick on. There's a delay so that you don't have two big devices hitting at the same time. I think it's a 7-second delay, and it also will remain on for 7 seconds after the lathe goes off, and that's just to collect any dust particles that are still in the air after you've stopped turning. So I'm going to be using this to turn the vac on and off. The other thing is I'm going to have a T. Just a 2.5, and I guess I should have said that all the hose that I'm using for this is all 2.5-inch hoses. So I have a 2.5-inch T that's going to split it off between the floor sweep and the lathe. I've got a couple of blast gates that I'm going to be using. This one I got from Rockler, and actually I like this one better. And the reason is because I can mount it to the wall, where this one doesn't have a mount. I would prefer this one, but if that's not a big deal to you, then they appear to be made the same. So I'm going to be using those. I'm going to be using various clamps. I've got some black 2.5-inch hose, and I also have some clear 2.5-inch hose. So I'm going to route these under and over the bench that I've got here. This is just a temporary bench, but that's coming in a later video. And then what I'll do is, once I've got everything set up, then I will again take the tripod away from the camera. It'll be a little bit shaky, so let me apologize in advance for that. But I will take you through and show you how I got everything set up, and then I will give you a demonstration of how well it works. I should also say that the Shop Vac is a 6 horsepower. Don't know what that equates to in CFM, but I got it from Home Depot. And it's not a sponsored video, but this is what I used on my other one, and it works really, really well. So it's a 6 horsepower, 14-gallon capacity, but that isn't as big of a deal because most of your particles are going to come down into the cyclone, and that's a 5-gallon bucket there. You can add multiple of these. I will try to include like a picture or a scan maybe at the end of the video so that you can see what I'm talking about, where you can add multiple Shop Vacs for more horsepower CFM. You can add additional cyclones to increase your capacity. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and this isn't the only solution there is out there, but it worked for me. I've seen a lot of people that had used it and had really good results. I used it again on my other one. but I was ready to upgrade to a different one so I don't have a hose going across the shop when I'm turning. So anyway, enough rambling on. Let me get to installing this, and I will be back to show you how I did it. All right, so I got it all hooked up. It's not the prettiest job, but it will do for now until I build the cart, build a new table for the lathe. But here it is. So I've got the floor sweep here, and the blast gate is here, and then off this T here, it comes up and feeds up here to my lathe into this. Again, I'm going to have to play around with it to see how it is going to work. So let's test the operation. So I've got this blast gate open, and I've got that one closed. So now we're going to turn it on. And you see how quickly it sucked up the flakes, or not flakes, we're not talking snow, how quickly it's did the dust. So now we just closed the blast gate for the lathe, opened it up for the broom sweep. So now I want to show you the cyclone in action and show you how the dust settles down and then deposits when the vac is off. Okay, now you see it swirling, and then it just disappears down into the bucket. So one thing to note, I wound up not using this automatic switch. I thought it was broke at first because the Shop Vac wasn't coming on. Then I thought, well, maybe there's not enough amperage to kick it off, because that's what it's supposed to do, is detect when the machinery turns on with enough amperage to kick the switch in there. And because I had the lathe down around 300 RPM just to keep it low. But once I turned it up to 1200 RPM, the switch kicked in and the vac turned on. And that's not going to work for my situation because, if I'm drilling, I usually drill around 500 RPM. Sometimes, you just can't turn when it's that low. Plus, I sand at 1000 RPM. So this didn't work for this situation. So I probably would use it like with my my table saw or something like that, or a miter saw, something that it's not variable and the speed just, or the amperage just kicks in. So what I did have is an extra remote, kind of like for the holiday decorations, but a little higher amperage to handle the lathe current. It works well. It's what I used on my other one. So anyway, rambling on enough, and so we're gonna wrap up this this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. There's a whole world on dust collection and different options, and this is just one of them. This is how I did it as opposed to a proper dust collection. One thing that I do going to build in a future video is an air filtration system. You can go and buy them, and they're relatively inexpensive compared to some other pieces of equipment, but what kind of wood shop would I be if I didn't want to build my own? So that's what the plan is to eventually build an air filtration with maybe even a box fan. I might get a cage, a squirrel cage fan, and then just a series of air filters that you would use like on your air conditioner. So that's coming in a future video, but today is going to be a wrap for the dust collection. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Wolf Ridge Woodworking. And if you have any questions around the project, please leave some comments down below. If these are the type of videos you like, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell, in that way you're notified when I upload a new video. And as always, please share with anybody that you think might be interested in this type of content. Anyway, so that's it, and I have a blessed day, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.